is visible. But next, go to next slide.
Okay.
No.
1 minute. Now?
No.
This is?
No. It is in first slide only.
I
Yeah.
think I can
Yeah,
go.
now it is.
Now this is?
Yeah, visible, changing.
I think this is fine now. We can.
Okay, anyway, just to introduce Dr. Jyoti Prasad, she's also the one of the co-coordinator for this Atal ACT Training and Learning Academy, Atal sponsored project activity program on urban hydrology. To note that this is the last session which we are we are attending, and we are just, since the time is up, I just request all to present only for 1 hour only, because it's already 3:30. Because we want to close another 10-15 minutes is required at the end of this program. So as I said already, she did her basic degree from Malnad Engineering College, Assam, from Mysore University. Then postgraduate MTech in hydrology from Department of Hydrology, Indian Institute of Technology, Roorkee. Presently, at that time it was University of Roorkee. Later on, she completed her PhD in civil engineering, water resources from National Institute of Technology, Warangal, NIT Warangal. So after she had a wide experience, she worked in uh, Mumbai around 10 years. Then later on, she shifted to University of Pantnagar. She started from associate. She joined as an associate professor, and now she is professor. She has reached the topmost academic designation. And the last 20 years, she is working on various aspects of water resources, hydrology, and other. She's also working on. She's also one of the principal investigator for the ORC scheme for promotion of academic and research collaboration sponsored course. That is, it's a research project of MHRD, Ministry of Human Resources and Development, and she is working on that project as a principal investigator. This is an Australia-India joint venture project, and in addition to that, she is also working on Ministry of Earth Scientific project, Ministry of Economic project, and also one uh, uh, NMHS project in association with Kumaun University, Nainital, particularly on springs and its developments. So now I request Dr. Jyoti Prasad and our colleague to start this session. Please.
I am audible.
Yeah, you are audible.
Uh, Good afternoon, all of you. We earlier we planned to have a hands-on practice, and even though I am not an expert of QGS, but still our MTech students they are all working on this. So that's why it is also in one of the most important topic you may be thinking. So earlier, all the sessions were of the higher softwares, and now we are coming to the basic software or like this. So this session, why it has been kept? So we have seen all the different softwares, but some of the learners will also be there, especially. So they should also come to know at least what procedures they have to follow and why it is we have to use this QGIS software. So that is the why mainly this topic has been taken out, and because of the networking issues and many people may not have the computing facility at their place, and they can work because they have, most of them maybe in the mobiles and all. So that's why this session I will go with the very brief related with the certain things, and then my MTech students who she has worked on the QGS software, she is going to explain on that. So what is my overall lecture view? Earlier, I will be going with the all of you are knowing what is this GIS, and also I will see certain history of the QGIS, how it has come and all, and I will be seeing of certain applications also in this. So rest of that, how software will run and all. So that will be explained from the Ninu. She has completed her MTech, so she is going to apply here. So in my first slide, if you see these floods, so these floods, all of you are well aware of that. Kedarnath tragedy, which is internationally well known to all of them. This tragedy which took place in Kedarnath. So during that day, the rainfall which has took 2013, it was more than 300 times the day duration of the time which has taken place. So in a very short duration, the rainfall which has took, and what we have studied the urban hydrology, that is the urban floods and different types of floods which we have studied. So this is also one of the helpful the tool to see of the use of this QGIS software. So now, what is this GIS? So GIS term is very simple, and all of us, we are well aware of that. So just to have a knowledge, to regain our knowledge, GIS is nothing but an geographic information system, and that it is helping to create and manages, analyzes, and maps of all types of the data. And it is also users to map the multiple different sources of geographical data, and it can be a tool, very powerful tool to analyze the spatial distribution data also. And GIS, we know it is nothing but, we can say it is moving like data and using the software, and we need of hardware and methods, and people need to work. So that is the one which the GIS is doing. And now we think of what is this map. So if you see the map which I have displayed now, so everybody will have their own view to observe this. Okay, so this human being, you see, well designed, and you can see this sections you are seeing. Here you can see the certain picture, and here you see river and all you can see, and here see some basin maps or something like that. So if you able to see all these images, so sometimes which we will also feel like which one to say the map. So if you say the map, in the sense, it mainly, if you see this, it is a spatial arrangement. If you see all of them, it is having a spatial arrangement of information and to communicate the things. So if you, by seeing the picture itself, it can able to communicate the person who is seeing the picture. So that is the main we are observing here. That is special. It is a spatial arrangement of information to the communication, and its special relationship between the elements in each image that provides the meaning. So if you see and if you observe, it should give certain meaning of that, and it should communicate certain things, and you should come to know what really that picture it is. So that is one which really what we are going to make here. So although if you see, not all are of geographic pictures. So this will introduce the idea of abstraction. So abstraction, or we can say it is the process of representing the phenomena or ideas with a simplified counterpart. When I was doing my MTech in IIT Roorkee, I used to go to the typewriter, or only one computer center was there. We used to sit whole of the day, and evening, by evening morning 8, if I sit for analysis, I will get the printout in the evening for 20 paisa that time. So we used to get, and the time taken, and we don't have like to make the pictures and to make the beautifications and all. Nothing was there in that time. So now the things have come to represent the idea which we are having. We can able to show the things in a proper manner. So this geographic maps, they are the abstractions of the world we live in and phenomena on, within or above its surface. All these things, we can say it is a sort of a geographic maps. In abstractions, map allows the features in the real world to be represented. What are supposed to be represented in a paper, now it is in the digital media and even database. It is allowing us to calculate and present, and you can better understand the relationship, and you can also the objective in the real world have with the one other. So each thing it can able to represent here. So the International Cartographic Association, they define the map is a symbolized image of the geographical reality representing the selected features or characteristics resulting from the creative effort of its authors. Execution, especially his choice, and is designed for the use when spatial relationships are primary factor. So that was given by the International Cartographic Association. So still under many of them, they are giving of their own sort of the definition for particularly for the map. So this is also one of the things which is going to be created using with the QGIS. So now given source of geographic data. What is the source of geographic data? So many of the data, they are going to be captured using with the many techniques, and even sometimes it is going to be collected, and sometimes it is going to be sold. Certain data are to be sold, you have to purchase that, and even distributed in a very wide, and even for the public and even for private enterprise. So in general, we say geographic data into the two main types. One is directly collected data and other one is remotely sensed data. So directly collected data means, you see, it is all of us know, mostly we are all the PhD people, and all of us know directly collected data is nothing but directly measured and directly collected all the values we go personally and we are going to take the data. And remotely sensing data means it is measured from remote distance without any direct contact with the phenomena or need to visit the location of interest, although it is directly collected with the ground truth. So that data are often to be used as an accurate interpretation for remote sense data. There are certain federal agencies are there to collect the data, and then they are going to distribute the geographical data. So those informations you have already where you will get and all in the earlier experts when they are in the discussion part, it has come across where you will are going to get the different types of data they are already come across. So now just to have in 2 minutes to have in quick things why this QGIS and all. What was the history behind that QGIS? So the person named Gary Sherman, he has developed the quantum GIS. QGIS is the quantum GIS. It was in the early 2002, he was the beginner to start this project. And it was an open source geospatial foundation during the year 2007, and it was of the version 1, and it was released during the year 2009. Then during the year 2013, the version 2 has been released, and the name was officially changed to the Quantum GIS, to QGIS. So sometimes there will be a confusion. So what is this QGIS? What is this Quantum GIS and all? So then both the names are used parallelly. So this written, this whatever the version which was upgraded, it was with because we know computer language, it is always changes and all. Also earlier Fortran we used to use, and then C, and then C++. Next whatever it is coming, it is go on, keep on, and upgradation will be there. So like that, this C++, then QGIS has started, and correspondingly its library is also it is going to be upgraded. So in that also additional features also it is used in the database here, and even the screenshot from QGIS Android 2014 was also incorporated. So then it has come to the 2017, it was started with that. So along with that, QGIS can also be used as a graphical user interface, that is GRAS. And this QGIS, why do we use? Because we can say it requires the less space and all, and memory power it is required is less, and running time, because otherwise if you go with the standard softwares, you may also require to use the higher version of the computational purpose, computer RAM upgradations and all. So this can run smoothly. Even during the year 2012, the developers, they have translated the QGIS into 48 languages. 48 languages, and its application was used internationally in the academic and professional environments. So because whenever the software introduces, open software introduces, that all are going to be tested first, and then only it is to be released to the public. So all this QGIS has been translated into the 48 languages, and it has been used by the academic persons, even with the professional environments. Even it is in support of several companies. They are also supported for that. So this Quantum GIS, it is a free and open source cross-platform GIS application, and especially all will have in the mind, like always, we earlier you see, depending upon the institute, institute can bear the software cost. So even in IITs also, IIT Madras, you might earlier expert, you were Somendra Kure, he was also when I had been to Hackraft's software in his program. So that time he was also telling about this openware softwares and all. So even the IITs, NITs everywhere. So they also start to use this openware softwares. That means you can trust, and even many internationally people have been trusted these softwares. Whatever the answers or the accuracy, it is good, and you have the option for coding and decoding that can be done using with your researcher has the facility to work on that. So that is the option you are having. So that's why we are also using this quantum GIS, that is QGIS software we are using here. So now just to, I told already who are all adopted these people, like many public and private organizations have adopted this QGIS software, like United States National Security Agencies and even National Geospatial Intelligence Agencies, even Australian state also, Swiss contents they are also used, and New Zealand's they are all used, and now in India also many of them they are using this openware software. So what its function generally? Like GIS also, it is having an facility to make the different layers. So QGIS can also display the multiple layers which is containing from the different sources or depictions of the sources. It can facilitate the different layers, and you can it will help to preparing the maps, and even screen shot of print composers and all has come, and latestly 2021 also the latest software has been released, QGIS software has been released. So now just to have a small introduction of the applications. So all of us know it is applied to the watershed analysis. So I may not go in detail how it is analyzing and all, just because QGIS is having an option to use to analyze the watershed analysis purpose. So in that you can able to prepare an catchment area, drainage area, and you can have a channel networks you can make, and stream order, and you can even you can create an 3D model of the catchment you can able to prepare using that is especially watershed using the digital elevation model. So that is the one of the applications which you can able to make using with the QGIS software. And the other one which we are calling as an, that is other application is flood in preparation for flood inundation map. You can also use the QGIS software, and this will help for you along with the HECRA software. This is also one of the input which we can able to give and to produce them to preparation of the inundation map. That is, especially this is an example of Bor Dam in the Uttarakhand. One of my MTech students, she has worked, and one of the earlier student also, he has worked in under me, and he has joined for the PhD in ISC Bangalore. So this HECRAS, using with the HECRAS in addition to the QGIS software, so you can able to represent that how the dam breach using with HECRAS software. It helps you to dam break analysis, which you have heard from the Dr. Somendra Kure. So you can able to, once the dam has breached due to the unavoidable circumstances, sudden flood has come and all, how much the area, the downstream people are going to be affected. So that we have to analyze. So otherwise, nowadays this HECRAS software is also becoming a more popular nowadays, because more nowadays you can see how many floods, even urban floods, even many everywhere. This flood is coming nowadays. Dam break has become one of the popular HECRAS software is becoming. So this helps you to predict the this much amount of flood has come, and if it is breached, then how much the distance and up to what time, what depth, and what time it can able to reach to the particular place. So that will helps you, and you can warn the public at the downstream side people. So this is also one of the helpful for preparation of flood inundation mapping. And then the other one is it is help for the urban development. So urban development in the sense for smart cities. Especially nowadays, our Prime Minister is, yes, they have identified the many, central government has identified the smart cities of the India. So our Uttarakhand is also, Dehradun is also identified for the smart city here. So if there is any sort of development is there, so using with the QGIS software, you can able to, that tool is also available in the QGIS software. So you can able to make your, that is, plan the city in a well manner using with the features which are available in the software, and you can prepare this map and you can represent the things in a very beautiful manner. So that is also one of the application of the QGIS software. You can use it. And then other one is also transportation. So transportation in the sense like highways, that is the bus routes and all what we make here. So in QGIS software, there is also an additional facility features are also available, like public transport, public nodes and all. Nowadays, even Android mobile also, you are getting the information, you can trace the things and all. Where is the location, even the train moving, flight moving, everything, it is available in your mobiles. So this is the features which has been developed, even transportation. And in order to identify the shortest route to reach, that is also, it will help the QGIS to, you can use the QGIS tool for preparation of the maps. And in additionally, we can also go for, if you want to go for pollution monitoring. So pollution monitoring also can be for the particular area. You can able to map that particular area, and each particular zone where is the pollution and what type of pollution, whether it is you are representing the air pollution and its concentration, and what will be the water quality in that. So all these things you can able to you can able to analyze using with this QGIS. So anyhow, this remote sensing is also one of the additional data, that is which you can able to use for your in the QGIS software. So, and also you can go for target site selection, and even mineral mapping can also be done. So like that, we can have several applications of the QGIS software is there. So if you anything, especially any software, unless if you are not practicing, you will not able to get it. More you involved in the software, you can able to do lot things. So the way the researchers use, and certain limitations are there, but you can able to use the software, and you can also develop additional things using with the open based software. So that is just to have a brief of QGS software. So now I will request my MTech student. So she has worked on this especially uh, QGS software. She has worked on the QGS software, and she is going to explain how the software is going to be run, and then what the tools are available in the software, and how you are going to use that. So that will be explained by the Ninu. So Ninu, now I think you can able to present.
Yes, yes,
I
sure,
will
ma'am.
stop you, 1 minute. I will stop my sharing. No, it is not. Okay, it is stopped. Now you can try.
Oh, sure, ma'am. So good afternoon to everyone. Thank you, Dr. Jyoti Prasad ma'am and Dr. H. Shiva Prasad sir for introducing me and giving me this opportunity to demonstrate the QGI software in such a wonderful Atal FDP program on urban hydrology. So let me introduce myself in a brief. My name is Neenu. I completed my MTech in civil engineering with a specialization in hydraulic engineering under the guidance of Professor Dr. Ajay Shiva Prasad sir with Professor Dr. Jyoti Prasad ma'am as co-advisor. So let me share the screen.
Share now.
Yeah, yes. I think it is visible.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah, it's
visible.
visible.
Oh, okay. So, before learning and going through the QGIS software, we must know a few terms which are very important components of QGIS and related to QGIS. And one of them is spatial data. The spatial data is a term which is used to describe any data which is related to Earth surface and which contain the geographic information. So spatial data consists of two parts. One is vector data and another one is raster data. So these two are the spatial data. So vector data can be defined as graphical representations of the real world. And there are three main types of vector data. The first one is points, second is polyline, and the third one is polygon. So when a feature's geometry consists of only a single vertex, then it is known as point vector data. And where geometry consists of two or more vertices and that do not form an enclosed shape, then it is known as polyline vector data, and each vertex has x and y coordinates. Where there are more vertices and first and last vertices are always at the same position, then that vector data is known as polygon. So in case of polygon, it form an enclosed shape. So for example, for plotting a landscape features, trees can be represented as points, rivers and roads can be represented as polyline, and houses can be represented as polygon. While rasters data are made up of a matrix of pixels, which is also known as cells, which contain value that represents the conditions for the area covered by that cell. That means it is in the form of images or pictures. So all images and pictures are or of raster data. So raster data is composed of rows and columns of pixels, and each pixel represents the geographical region. So raster data can be obtained by aerial photography and satellite imagery, and the process of capturing raster data from aeroplane or satellite is called remote sensing. So if you see these two images, the first one is vector data, that is, it consists of polylines, points, and polygons, and it can be differentiated. So these features can be differentiated. If those features cannot be differentiated for a continuous surface, we go for raster data. So this is the raster image, and in this image consists of number of pixels, and that pixels consist of cells, and it form a square boxes. So in QGIS, so rasters are consist of columns and rows, and those boxes are a square in shapes. Next is spatial interpolation. Spatial interpolation is very important for plotting spatial distribution map. So spatial interpolation is the process of using points with known values to estimate values at other unknown points. For example, for preparing a map of rainfall, there is not enough evenly spread weather stations to cover the entire region. And for that, we have to interpolate to estimate the data at other places as well, where there is no weather stations to calculate the rainfall depth. So for spatial interpolation, they are widely used interpolation methods are inverse distance weighting method, and another one is triangulated irregular network method. So in case of IDW method, the sample points are weighted during interpolation such that the influence of one point relative to another declines with distance from the unknown point. So in case of IDW method, it is the quality of interpolation can be decreased if the distribution of sample data point is uneven. So for the inverse weighting method, the sample points must be in even numbers. Next is triangulated irregular network. It creates surface which is formed by triangles of nearest neighbor point. So those triangles are formed with the help of known points. Known points are those points where we have collected the samples and we know the location of that points. So it circles around selected sample points, and their intersections are connected to form a network which is non-overlapping and as compact as possible triangles are formed. But the main disadvantage of this method, that is the triangulated irregular network method, is that it does not give a smooth surface, and also it is not suitable for extrapolation beyond the area with collected sample data points. So in this slide, you can see there are two images. The first one shows the inverse distance weighting method. So this point is the unknown value. We have to interpolate for this value with the help of these sample points. So the effect of this sample point is more as compared to this point on this unknown sample point. So it declines with the distance, and which is known as inverse distance weighting method. In case of triangulated irregular method, these are the sample points which are known to us, and circles are drawn with the circles with these sample points, and intersections points are connected to form the triangles as compact as possible. So this is the spatial distribution with the help of IDW method, and this is a spatial distribution with the help of TIM method. So these are few examples. Here, these are the few maps which prepared in the QGIS software. So all these three are the maps, and last image shows the spatial distribution. So this is the flow chart. The left column shows the field data, and which is not related to QGIS, but the right side column related to QGIS work process. So during my MTech, I have collected samples from 30 different flowing artesian wells in Pantnagar to analyze its water quality, and also for analyzing the spatial distribution, I have used QGIS software. So first we have to collect the coordinates using the GPS device so that we can plot those flowing artesian wells in the map with the help of QGIS software. After collection of coordinates, I entered the coordinates into the Excel sheet, because for the preparation of the map, I'm going to use the CSV file. And to create the CSV file, we have to convert Excel sheet into CSV file. So this is the process. In the right column, first we will proceed from the opening of the Quantum GIS, that is QGIS software. Then how to install the required plugins. We will learn about the plugins. Then how to add vector data, and that vector data which I have added, which I have used, is KML file from the Google Earth web browser. Then how to add the CSV file with the help of delimited text layer. So there are multiple layers like vector layer, raster layer, and one of them is delimited text layer. So after collecting all these data and calculating and analyzing the water quality index for that particular area for those flowing artesian wells, I have used spatial interpolation, IDW method for the spatial interpolation. And then how we can go further for the print layouting, and then to prepare the spatial distribution map, that is SDM, for water quality index. So this is the flow chart. First is the graphical user interface. So before entering any software, we must know the interface of that software. So basically there are 6 components in the graphical user interface. The first one is menu bar, which provide access to QGIS functions using standard hierarchical menus, and that hierarchical menus contains project, view, layer, vector, rasters, etc. Next is toolbars, which provide access to the most of the functions, and they are present in the form of icons. Plus, additional tools are also available for interacting with the map. Next is layer list, which lists all the layers. For example, whether we are using vector layers, whether we are using raster layers. So all those layers will be listed in this panel. Next is browser panel, which is a very important tool for browsing, searching. It contains the system folders so that we can copy from the browser panel and move it to the layers list. Next is map canvas. The map is displayed in the map canvas, and that will be depend whether it is the map is prepared with the help of vector data or with the help of raster data. The last one is status bar. The status bar provides the general information about the map view and the process and the actions and how to manage the map. So here is the graphical user interface, menu bar. The second one is toolbar. The third one is layer list. Fourth one is browser panel. This is the map canvas. And sixth one is the status bar. So before opening the QGIS software, we can download and install the QGIS software from the qgis.org site, which is the official site of QGIS. It is free software, and after installing that software, you will find a folder like this, QGIS 3.16, where 3.16 is the version. So I'm demonstrating the software with the version of QGIS 3.16. So after installing, we will find this folder, right click on this folder and open it. So after opening this folder, you will find there are multiple files, but to open this software, we have to select this option, QGIS Desktop 3.16.9. Right click on this file and select open options. So after clicking this is the first page that will appear after opening the QGIS software. So before switching to the software, first we have to create the vector file, because for preparing a map, I'm going to add the vector data or vector layer into QGIS software. So what I have used Google Earth. So in the next slide, I will extract the YAML file from Google Earth. So you can type the Google Earth in the web browser and select this option, Explore Google Earth. Click on this option, Explore Google Earth, and the next sheet you will find like this. So this is the page of the Google Earth, where we can create a project, a different project, and save them as well. So click on this option, project, and after clicking this option, project, there are two tools. One is open and another one is create. If we have existing project, we can open those projects, but to create a new project, we have to select create option. So after clicking on this option, create, there will be two options available under the create. So one is create project in Google Drive or create KML file. So KML file is a part of shapefile which contains polygons, points or polylines. So in this case, I'm going to create a KML file. So I will select create KML file, and after selecting this option, create KML file, there are multiple options like search to add place marks, draw line or shape. So before drawing the boundary, so I have worked in the Pantnagar area, so I have to search Pantnagar so that I can get the boundary of the Pantnagar from the Google Earth. So I select this option, search to add place, I type Pantnagar, and after typing Pantnagar, it will create the boundary of the Pantnagar. So this is the boundary of the Pantnagar according to the Google Earth. So it is a web browser. So this is the boundary of the Pantnagar. Now we have to create the boundary of the area which is required. So here it is for the Pantnagar area. Then there is option draw line or shape. So I select this option and we have to draw to overlap these boundaries to create the boundary of the Pantnagar. And after finishing at the end point or after merging the first and last point, you will find this save to project, the place title, what is the place, its name, and what you want to give the name of the project. So I have kept it as untitled project, and place title as Pantnagar and select the save option. This is the process for saving the project in Google Earth. So this is how you have create the project in Google Earth, but still it is not converted into KML file for using in the QGIS software. So to convert it into the KML file, there will be 3 points. Select those points or click on those points and select this option export as KML file. So after clicking on this option, it will open the window to save that KML file with the name and the location where you want to save that file. So this is how we can save a KML file with the help of Google Earth. There are also many options to create the shapefile, like you can also go for Google Maps, or there is option for quick service map within the software. So let's switch to the software. So this is the front page that will appear after opening the QGIS. So to create the new project in QGIS, either click on project option from the menu bar and click on new, or icon for the creating the new file is present in the toolbar. So this is the toolbar, this is the menu bar, this is the toolbar. So I'm clicking on this icon to create the new project. So there are many options in the menu bar. The first one is project. So it provides tools to create new project or use another project file as a template, to open a project from a file, to close a project, to save a project in .qgis file format, to export the map, to set project properties, or to use print layout. So there are many options in the project option from the menu bar. Next is edit, which provide tools needed to edit layer attributes or geometry like undo, redo, cut, copy, paste, etc. Next is view. The map is rendered in map views. Tools included are zoom or pan to any place. There are options for toggle options to recognize the QGIS interface. Next is layers. So to create a layer, it provides large set of tools to create new data source, add them to a project. It also duplicates, copy or paste layers. Next is settings, which include tools like style manager, interface customization for modifications in every features. Next is vector, which include tools for many common vector-based GIS tasks. Rasters are for raster-based GIS tasks such as georeferencers, analysis, etc. Web is used to directly extract the map from the web browsers. This is the status bar. The coordinate, it shows the coordinate of the mouse. So if I'm moving this cursor, if I'm moving this mouse, if you can see, the coordinates are changing. So it shows the coordinates of the mouse. Next is scale. It shows the scale of the map. So whatever the scale of the map within this map canvas, the scale will be represented here. If we lock the scale, the map scale will lock and we can zoom out or zoom in the map with the help of magnifier. So it allows to zoom into a map view without altering the map scale and making it easier to positions of labels and symbols accurately, and which is expressed as a percentage. Next is rotations. If it defines the current clockwise rotations for the map view degrees. Next is rendering, which is used to temporarily prevent layers being rendered to the map view. And the very important is this CRS, that is Coordinate Reference System. The Coordinate Reference System defines how the 2D projected map in GIS relates to real places on the Earth. And it is the use of CRS depends on the regional extent of the area. For example, it is showing the current CRS, but if we want to change it, we can click on this and it will open the project property dialog box to change the CRS from current to new one. And the most popular CRS is WGS 84. It is the latest world geodetic system. So first we are adding the vector layer. So to add the vector layer, either we can click on layers or we can go to the data source manager. Before using this QGIS software, we must install the required plugins. The plugins allows many new features and functions to be easily added to the applications. And there are two types of plugins. The first one is core plugin and the second one is external plugins. The core plugins are the automatically part of every QGIS distribution, and these are maintained by the QGIS development team. That is, they are installed during the software installation. But external plugins are stored either in the official QGIS repository or in external repository, and they are maintained by the individual authors. That means they need to be installed by the users before using them. So if I click on plugins, go to the manage and install plugins. Plugin dialog box will open. So there are many options like all, install, not install from ZIP, zip file settings. So what it is showing, there are many plugins for easily access the functions of the QGIS. In all the plugins are listed in this option, including both core and external plugins, which are either installed or not installed. But in case of install, it listed the core plugins that cannot be uninstalled. So because core plugins are automatically installed, we cannot uninstall these plugins. And installed also contains external plugins that can be uninstalled and reinstalled at any time. Similarly, not installed, it lists all plugins available that are not installed. We can also provide file selector widget to import plugins in a zip format. So to install in a zip format, we can go for this option. So in case of not installed, for example, there is quick map service. So there is an option quick map service. If I click on this, in the right panel, in the right side panel, it explains the description of that plugins, ratings, its tags and author and the available version. So to install this quick map service, just click on install plugin and it will install that plugin. It can be used for OpenStreet mapping, So after installing, we can reinstall that plugin or uninstall that plugin. Close those plugins after installing the required plugins. So now we have to add the vector data. So select database source manager. After clicking, the data source manager dialog box will open and there are different types of data. Select vector data and click on vector data set. So I'm browsing those files, that KML file which I have extracted from the Google Earth. So browse that file where you have saved the KML file. I have saved that KML file in the name of Pantnagar plant. So I'm opening this KML file. Either right click and open or just double click on this file. So after double clicking, it will shows the location or the address of that KML file with its name. So click on add option. After clicking add option, I already explained there are three types of vector data: point, polyline and polygon. Similarly, in this case, there are two features, point and polygon, but we are going to work with the polygon. So I'm selecting polygon and click OK and then close. So this is how we have added the vector layer for the Pantnagar area map. So if we want to edit this layer, we can go to the layer list and select this layer and right click on that particular layer and rename. Select the rename option. I select this rename option and I rename it as Pantnagar. And I click anywhere in the layer list. Again, we have to edit this. There are many options. Either you can right click and select the property option or double click this layer and the property dialog box will open. The first one is symbology. So we can change the fill as per our choice, whether we want it as a solid fill or we want it in a pattern. So there are many options available. Also, QGIS is an open source software, so we can access the codes and we can change or we can add some more patterns. So here I'm using this pattern, dot green pattern. So we can change the pattern, we can change the fill with the help of symbology. We can also, for example, I'm selecting this pattern, we can change the pattern also, whether it's marked, the color of the mark, the size of the mark and everything. Next is labels. In case of labels, whether we want to show the data in the map or not. For example, for now I'm using this single labels and this is the text where you can write the text which you want to show in the map itself. So I'm applying and clicking OK. So this is how we have added the properties of this vector layer. Now, while using the GIS-based softwares like QGIS, coordinates are very important. So I have measured the coordinates of the flowing artesian wells with the help of GPS device, and I have filled or entered those data into the Excel sheet and convert that Excel sheet in the CSV file. So to add that CSV file in the QGIS software, again I'm selecting this option, that is data source manager, and selecting delimited text layer this time. So we have to browse that file in the form of CSV. The file format is CSV. I'm selecting or browsing those files. So it is in the form of water quality index CSV file, which contains rows and columns, and it specifies the latitude, longitude, and water quality index of each and every flowing artesian wells. So I'm selecting this CSV file by double clicking it. The very important thing in adding this delimited text layer is geometry definition, because here we are going to use the coordinates. We have to define the point coordinates. So in the X field, this is the longitude. We have to fill the longitude in the X field, and in the Y field, we have to fill the latitude of that particular area. And the geometry CRS should be WGS 84. The file format is CSV, comma separated files, and I am adding these files. Add, close. Z field is used when we are adding the elevation also, including with latitude and longitude. So these are the 30 flowing artesian wells with coordinates, that is latitude and longitude. Now, if we want to edit this layer, right click on this layer, click on property option, and then we can change this symbology as well as labels. So for now, I'm using this symbol for depicting the flowing artesian wells. Also, in case of labels, selecting this single labels, because we have added the CSV file and it is in the form of tabular data, so we can access what we want to show in our map, or what we want to add the text in the map. So here I'm selecting parameters and I'm clicking apply and OK. If you see, the name of those flowing artesian wells can be shown in the map with the help of labels. So after completing this, we have to interpolate for the unknown points where we haven't calculated the water quality index because there were no flowing artesian wells. And the method which I have used is IDW method, that is inverse distance weighting method for spatial distribution. So for that purpose, we have to go to the processing and click on toolbox if it is not present here, but already it is present here, so I have to click on the interpolation, where you will find many methods like heat map methods, IDW, TIN interpolation method. So for now I'm using IDW interpolation method. So double click on this option, IDW interpolation, and the IDW interpolation dialog box will open. So the first one, it will ask about the vector layer, that is what you want to interpolate. That layer, you have to mention that layer. So here that layer is water quality index CSV file, it is WQI CSV. Why it is WQ CSV? Because that data, water quality index, is present in the form of delimited text layer. So I'm using vector layer as WQI CSV. And the interpolation attribute, that is what we want to interpolate. So here I'm going to interpolate for the water quality index of Pantnagar area. So I'm using water quality index as interpolation attribute. Next, we have to add that layer. So click on this option, input layer. It will create a vector layer with attribute as water quality index, which we have given above. There are different types. For now, I am using the point option to interpolate the required water quality index for the whole area of the Pantnagar. Then comes the extend. This option is very important because it contains three options, whether you want to calculate from the layer or use map canvas extend. Map canvas extend means whatever you are saying in this map canvas, it includes all of them. So in the option of calculate from layer, the interpolation is depend on the layers that we have added. So here I'm using calculated from layer and selecting this water quality index CSV because it already contains coordinates, and after selecting from calculate from layer, it will shows the maximum and minimum northing, maximum and minimum easting. After that, we can save the file, or it will temporarily save in the QGIS folder. But then what should be the output raster size? This is new in QGIS versions above 3. So we have to define the rows and columns for the raster size, that is for the pixels. So for now I am taking it as 500 and clicking animate. So these are the pixels. These are the small square boxes that can create the raster image. So then click on run option to run this interpolation. And after finishing the run process, click on close button. So this is a spatial distribution of water quality index in Pantnagar area. But this is in grayscale and we want to show it in different colors. So to edit this layer, you can click on interpolated layer and right click on this option, go to the properties. For now, in the symbology, the render type is single band gray. Select single band pseudo color where we can find multiple layers of colors. So here are different options, whether you want it in grays, greens, reds, spectral, readers. It is the combination of colors. So for now, I'm using this spectral option for rendering this data. Next is labor precision. So after selecting this interpolation method, whether you want it linear, discrete or exact, so I'm using this interpolation as linear. So by default, it will distribute the values. For example, if the maximum or minimum value of the water quality index for those flowing artesian wells are whatever for a particular value, but this software will arrange according to themselves. If you want to add it, you can also add it, that option. Similarly, water quality index is a unitless quantity, but if you want to add some suffix, you can add the unit for that particular interpolation. So here the interpolation is like this. Click on apply and OK. So it shows that the flowing artesian wells, which shows with color blue, has the maximum water quality index. And maximum water quality index means that water is poor in quality and cannot be potable for drinking or for domestic purposes. While the flowing artesian wells with red color shows that those flowing artesian wells contains good quality of water. So this is how we can create spatial distribution map. Now we have to go for the print layouting. So why we are going for the print layouting? Because print layouting can arrange map elements on a sheet of paper in a way that even without many words, the average person can understand about the map, about what is the information is given from the map. We can easily understand. So we have to create the print layout. So for creating the print layout, click on new print layout. So before clicking on new print layout, I'm saving this project. You can either click on save or click on save as to save that project with a specified name. For example, I'm saving it as water quality index and save. After saving the project, go to the project and select the new print layout option. I'm selecting new print layout option. It will ask to enter a print layout title, or otherwise it will create automatically the name of that layout. So I'm not writing any name. I'm just clicking OK. So by defaulted, the name of that print layout is layout 1. So this is the print layout dialog box where we can manage our map or other elements. So they are very important tools like map, how to add map, images, text, legends, tail, arrows, north arrows. So first I'm going to add the map so that we can work with its elements. So I'm selecting this option, add map. This is how we can add the map from the QGIS window to this layouting window. I'm clicking on this option, add map, and just press the left mouse button and create a box like this. So the map will be created within this box. I'm creating it like this. So this is how you will see the map is inserted from the QGIS window to the map layouting. Next, we have to edit this map because to insert the coordinates into the map image or into the map layouting is very important, so that we can use that image for future references and we can go further for georeferencing also. So here in the right side, there is option like grids. So select this option, grid option. We can create grids within this map. Click on this plus sign to add the grids. Select that grid and click on modify grid. So after clicking on modify grid, select this interval. So this interval basically depends on the latitude and longitude of that area. For now, I'm selecting the interval as 0.03 as well as 0.03 for y direction. So this is how we can create grids in the map. So here I'm using a different color. I'm using this gray color just to show the grids in the map. So, and the next option available is for coordinates. This is very important. We can also insert the coordinates, and these coordinates are depend on the CSV file for this particular case. So I'm clicking on draw coordinate option. For now, it is showing like 29 degree, 79.5 degree because the format is decimal. But if you want to show it in degree, and minute and seconds with suffix. So we can use this option degree, minute, second with suffix. So I'm using this option. Next, it will show whether you want it outside the frame or inside the frame, whether the alignment of that coordinate should be horizontal or vertical, ascending, descending, what should be the direction. So for now, I'm using like this only. This is for the right side. This is for the top top coordinates, and this one is for the bottom. If you do not want to show all the latitudes, just disable those latitudes and longitudes. This is how we can give a space distance to the map frame. For now, I'm giving it as 2 mm and the coordinate precisions at 2. That means after 1. That means after point, the decimal points will be 1. So this is how we have added the coordinates into our map so that it can be used for georeferencing in further future referencing.
Like this, we can able to use the many of the options from QGIS. Okay.
Yes,
Unless
ma'am.
we practice the software, it is not possible. And anyhow, it is in sort of introduction. Those who are not knowing, most of them they may also know, but still many options are there to learn also. Latest software is also introduced, and thank you. I think we can have the concluding session. Dr. Shiv Prasad. Dr. Shiv Prasad. Dr. Shiv Prasad.
Audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, please, all of you, once again, thank you, Dr. Jyoti Prasad, and also in particular, Mino, for nice interaction and also nice presentation of your QGS. Even though the time is very short, but within a span of a short time, she could be able to do a lot of things. And I am just trying to request you, can you please join on a Zoom meeting, please? All of you.
It will switch off this, no?
And no, just for a while, I will just see.
Record, please stop.
Yeah, I will stop that recording also.
Zoom.